Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 66 of the Local to Global here with the Canadian Wrestling Coalition. Now, it's going to be an interesting episode. This is going to be the first episode of the new episode format. I decided, with a lot of your guys' feedback, we're going to be running sort of 3 episodes per month. Basically, the first 2 TV shows, so week 1, week 2, 1 episode, which is essentially going to be this episode. Then week 3, and the Go Home show, the final TV show in week 4. That's going to be the second episode per month. And then finally, we're going to finish off with the pay-per-view. Obviously, the July month will have 2 pay-per-views for that specific episode. So that one will be a little bit longer. But we don't have to worry about that for just under a year's time. But we're also going to do sort of a bit more of an in-depth end of month review. So we're going to go forward to the first day of the new month, check stuff like profit, check popularity, check, creative meetings, stuff like that. And of course, a few other things like merchandise, obviously our size, and maybe just even some sort of lower down things like OWC, the developmental territory. We can maybe go in, see how some of those, younger prospects are doing as well. Anyway, we've got a few things to sort out first of all. Now, the first thing I want to do is to create our women's title. Now, I actually did I found a nice sort of women's title, and then I did a little bit of, Photoshop work to try and make our women's title look a little bit decent. So it's not great, but you know what? I feel like I did a little bit of something. As you can see, we've got the I think it might be an XWA title, XWA women's title. Basically, I went in, obviously changed the actual CWC logo color to purple to kind of at least somewhat try and match the purple here. As you can see, the purple on the actual belt strap, it's got a little bit of black in it, whereas the actual logo itself is more just a, from red to purple. I think it looks pretty good. It looks like an actual pretty prestigious women's belt. I feel like a lot of the C-verse belts for the women, more often than not, look really poorly done. I don't know. At least the default ones that are currently, just in the standard game. I felt like I wanted something a bit more special than just using a default title picture, in regards to our belt. Anyway, let's go gender, female only. I mean, that's pretty much all we have to do, I think. I don't think there's anything else we really need to do. So the women's title is officially created. Now the real question is, what exactly are we going to do in regards to the women for this month? I think the best way of doing it is to obviously just have a fatal 4-way match at the pay-per-view. Kind of makes the most sense and would kind of be the logical way of booking ourselves. Of course, we've got Amber Allen coming in a few days. Yeah, just under a week. So she'll be here for the second TV show of this episode. We also have Deborah Young back as well, which is nice. So she came back from her injury. Does still have these morale issues as well, though, which is a little bit frustrating. But there was one more thing I need to do. So 1 ring to rule them all. Now, I decided to go with this ring. I found it in I think it was Request a Graphic over on the Grey Dog Software forums. I found it a little while ago, but I never actually decided to put it in. If I go into here, once again, we have 1 ring to rule them all. As you can see, it's a very, eerie sort of dark ring with a skull in the middle. I'm not 100% sure what they are, but they kind of look like maybe wings next to it as well. And obviously, Aldous Blackfriar was the first ever winner of the 1 ring to rule them all. So, with that said, I think the first ever winner in likelihood would probably be the one to maybe even create the ring, or at least, going by our storyline purposes. He's definitely sort of corrupted the ring. And as you can see, Aldous Blackfriar winning the first one, it now looks pretty fitting to what it is and who actually won it the first time, or for the first time. Anyway, let's, is there anything else I need to do? I don't think there is, but we'll see. Because I do have a big plan of implementing a new group in the company, and it's kind of an offshoot of one of our sort of current groups, if you will. That's going to have a nice little heel turn, and it's greatly going to utilize, at least two of the new guys that we're bringing in. And me saying that, it's kind of spoilers right there. I don't want to give away too much else, but I mean, technically, it could be more than that, really. Either way, pretty keen to get into these first two TV shows. All right, so we've got a lot of people coming in here, as you can see. Also got Zimmy Bumfole. His contract's running out. But apparently we're still too small for him, which I find very strange, considering, he's only got 90 popularity, but we have someone like Logan Wolfsbane, who is on 100 popularity. And Aldous and himself, I would say higher popularity overall. Obviously, not overall throughout every region, but within the US and Canada, most definitely. Anyway, doesn't matter too much. Storm and Turk Treneman are both coming into the company, so that's really good. Also got Cooper Christie on the rise here, apparently, which is nice. His basics fall down? Yeah, he lost 1 basics. And of course, that 8 resilience. Absolutely terrible. Anyway, let's get into the actual show here. I guess we're gonna put Turk Treneman and Cooper Christie back together. So it's definitely going to be happening. Anyway, we've got Blue Dragon here, getting everyone in a good mood, setting up a pancake station. Spencer Edmund lifting the locker room when he created a silly game that became very popular backstage. And then finally, we got Mutant going before Wrestler's Court, getting a small positive impact from Angry Gilmore. All right, so the meddling I really want to do now is, well, I was going to say with Deborah, but yeah, Deborah's morale issues are with somebody on the pre-show, not the pre-show, the developmental company. So I guess we won't actually be doing that now. Unless I bring her up. I can't remember who it was. Was it... I think I do remember who it was, but I can't remember her name. It's like the one woman that I don't really use as a result. Anyway, storyline time. We've got a little bit of work to do here. I don't really want to give too much away, but obviously Giant Brody... Oh, I completely forgot. We need to... yeah, the Canadian title. We need to vacate, as Logan Wolfsbane would naturally vacate the title, like he said he would, and we'll have an angle on the show. Probably... maybe pre-main event by Logan. We're going to have a number 1 contenders main event here. Which I'm very, very interested in doing. Alright, so storylines first before we do anything. We'll leave that how it is now. Women's wrestling in the coalition. I'm still kind of a little bit uncertain of who we're going to use. Obviously, Amber Allen's going in there 100%. Then who is going to join her? I guess it would have to be Laura Flame. I mean, there's no real reason why she wouldn't be the next big challenger in there. I mean, Selena should have been in there, and she's good enough, in the ring to be in there with these other women, but just the popularity is really letting her down. So it's kind of looking like it's going to be Amber Allen, Deborah Young, Erin Gray, and Laura Flame in that first ever women's title Fatal 4-Way to determine our first champion. So we're gonna book towards that. We're gonna have a few matches between these women, especially once Amber gets here. Actually, I'm not 100% sure if Laura is here yet either. Actually, probably should have checked that. Anyway, the push for Canada. We're gonna keep everybody in here. We're gonna run a tournament. Probably. Actually, you know what? We're gonna take Gary Walker out of there. Graham obviously going to be staying in there because he is one of our #1 contenders. But we're going to have, obviously, Jack Jackson, Mars Patriot. Let's throw in Uterus Sono in there as well. That'd be a pretty likely candidate to be that, sort of second contender for the pay-per-view as well. Passing the torch, this one can just end 100%. We're sort of completely done with Angry Gilmore taking on his leader in Next Gen. This one's going to continue, but obviously Robin DeLay is going to be leading that one. Now, again, I'm not really too sure. I haven't exactly thought about who is going to be taking on. You know what? I'm actually kind of leaning towards Mobster for High Flying Hawaiian. I think that could be a really big sort of, storyline that can elevate him to that next level. This one's going to end as well. Goats versus Faith No More. So it's kind of played out a little bit. Yeah, we don't really have to worry about it too much. What else have we got? We got Forces of This one's going to continue. We're going to continue at least for the rest of this month. But this is sort of the storyline in itself is going to start to wrap up. But then Wall Street Enterprises are going to start to go into their own sort of weird sort of storyline as a result of what has happened or transpired between themselves and Forces of Darkness. And then the Coalition tag titles. You know what? Let's make sure we add that new team in with Turk Treneman and Cooper Christie, the Texas Express. I kind of like that name. Obviously, it's a pretty, I don't know, it's kind of a very basic name, but you know what? They're both from Texas. It fits. It works. And I mean, realistically, they could essentially be our next tag team title competitors. I don't think they will be. Let me remove the LA Stars out of here. I really like the LA Stars, man. But what else have we got? Now, I did say that it should be. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go with Sinner, and let's go with Zombie Boy in there because that was the next sort of contenders. You know what I want to do? I want to throw them in straight away. They're not gonna be fighting for the belts at the pay-per-view, but they're gonna be heavily involved in this storyline. I think that's probably the best way to implement them and to implement them coming back together as well. Could maybe have Cooper taking on someone like Mutant, perhaps, and then before Cooper's attacked, we'll book it. But maybe before he's attacked, Turk will come out, save him, and then the Texas Express will reunite. Could be a pretty decent way to go about it. Alright, now we definitely need a storyline in here for Maddie Faith. The question is, who do we have in verse? That's the real question. So, I mean, do we go Hernandez? I mean, I feel like Hernandez is just not that good, to be honest. You know what? Storm Spillane. Is he here yet? Yes, I think he might be. Obviously, Storm's not a kid, but let's call this one New Kid on the Block. And it's just going to be those two. I think that's a pretty good storyline, pretty much straight from the get-go, really. You know what? I think that's enough. I think that's enough. Obviously, we're gonna tweak a few things as we sort of go along as well, because at the moment we don't have a #1 contender for the Unified World Title. So there we go. Okay. The next thing, venue, of course, Brampton. And let's start booking. So I would like to book the main event first. We're going to do a triple threat #1 contenders match to kick things off. So I think it's only fitting to actually maybe have Maddie Faith be in this match. His popularity is 90, though. It is 90. And Storms is only 67, so that's pretty low. I thought it might have been a little bit higher, but you know what? It's fine. Alright, so the other members are going to be Aussie Darkstein, who has been, I mean, he was pretty impressive, but I believe he did take a pinfall loss somewhat recently. And then finally, another man that's also taken a pinfall loss at the pay-per-view, actually, is David Stone. However, he did also pick up 2 victories over what is to be a soon Hall of Famer in our company in Angry Gilmore. So, yeah, David Stone's going to get the win. Going to go loser of Aussie Darkstein. And then we're going to keep Matty Faith strong as well. Try not to lose any of that 90 popularity that he has, because I mean that'll be pretty useful. Anyway, we're going to go Tainted, however, and we're going to do an interference or distraction. Let's go a distraction onto Darkstein by Angry Gilmore. And I guess this can also set up a match on the next TV show between Darkstein and Gilmore, which will be nice. There we go. There is our new #1 contender. So let's chuck him in real quick. David Stone getting a pretty big opportunity, but I think in doing so, he's probably going to be elevated, I would hope, at least to like 90 popularity, which is asking a lot. At least 5 to 6, maybe 85 pop by the end of the month would be very good for David Stone. Anyway, the rest of the show. So we need that. Let's go for that match that I said. Cooper Christie and Mutant. So Mutant's going to get the win here. It can just be 10 minutes. Doesn't need to be too long. So Mutant to win. And then I guess we'll have an angle afterwards where Cooper is essentially going to be attacked. So let's do him on selling. And then we'll have Mutant, Sinner, and Zombie Boy, maybe. Because this is how it can all sort of tie back together. And then we'll have a nice little save there by Turk. I think for this one, I'm just going to go... I'm going to go Entertainment for Mutant and maybe Entertainment for Turk. Because in theory, I mean... in theory, it's going to be entertainment. It's not exactly going to be... It's going to be more about how they respond to Turk Treneman sort of coming out. Or at least Mutant. We might even... I don't really want to give Mutant losses. Maybe having Turk like literally come in on debut on the next show and beat Mutant in a match could be a pretty cool way of doing things. Anyway, it's actually going to advance the tag title storyline, so there we go. Alright, so that'll go after their match. Obviously not going to be anywhere near the main event. And then we also need Logan. I know I'm kind of booking a little bit weird here, but Logan Wolfsbane, let's just say, has vacated the Canadian title, announces tournament to determine #1 contender. Obviously, the second #1 contender is very much implied there. There we go. Because he doesn't really have anything to do tonight. You know, Logan, as our Unified World Champion. So he's just going to, you know, make that announcement, vacate the title. And then over the next... I think maybe next episode is when we'll do the tournament. Because I want to have... It's only going to be a relatively small tournament as well. This is like a TV tournament. It's going to run over 2 weeks. So we'll have like a first round of matches that lead into a final, if you will. How many matches would that be? I guess it would only be 2 matches, wouldn't it? Maybe I'll do... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking maybe I'll do it on this episode as well, and then play it out over 3 weeks going into the pay-per-view as well. I'll have a think about it while I'm booking here. Anyway, for the rest of the show, let's have... Yeah, let's have Job Squad take on the Tag Team Champions at the moment. Or actually, maybe the Moneymakers. Did they lose? I can't remember if they lost at the... We'll go the Puerto Rican Boys. I just changed my mind about 3 times then. Puerto Rican Boys, give them some love. I like Island Boy Apollo a lot, so... We'll just put a random match in the card. Really doesn't matter too much. It can literally be our storytelling, so there we go. And that can go there, because it doesn't need an angle. So that actually kind of fits in there real perfect. Okay, so the rest of the card. Let's go for another tag team match. I think I actually need to give Disciples of Darkness 5 a victory again. Not exactly sure who they should beat. Maybe the Rock City. We'll go the Northern Lights. It's also pretty unfortunate to give the Northern Lights another loss, but it's gonna help the overarching storylines of at least our tag division at the moment. So I don't know. It works. It works. At least in my mind, it works. All right. So there's that. Obviously, they're already appearing on the show, essentially in the beatdown of Cooper Christie. All right. So what else do we need to do? I want to have. Let's do it like this. Let's go High Flying Hawaiian. We're going to have him open the show with an angle where he's going to issue an open challenge. Anyone on the roster. And then, of course, we're going to have Harper Swole come out, answer the call. And then these two will go at it in a match together. Obviously, High Flying Hawaiian getting the victory. I think we can probably call it now. I think Harper Swole's there. I think his psychology is 62. 66. Okay, never mind. Harper Swole could probably be, starting to get his maybe singles push pretty soon. Obviously, this is not a real great way of putting him about for that, but you know what? It's fine. All right. So let's go High Flying Hawaiian. Harper Swole will come out, so he'll answer the call. So let's write it in. High Flying Hawaiian issues an open challenge to the roster. Then obviously Harper Swole answers the call. Simple, effective, and a nice way to start off the show. It should, High Flying should at least get a 75 or above with that angle. And then the match between those two as well should be relatively decent. All right, so how many matches is that? I know I was also talking about expanding the shows, but I'm not 100% set on that. Anyway, that's 5 matches already. And I want to have a women's match on this show as well. I think what I'll do, let's just go a women's match, just 10 minutes. And I think I want to go Deborah. Let's have Deborah take on maybe Selena. Yeah, Selena Svelte, I think, is probably... It's just a good option to have, talent versus talent in this sort of scenario. Obviously, Deborah will hopefully benefit a little bit from this, at least. Let's chuck that back there. Yeah, that's fine. That looks like a pretty good show. We can... I took a minute off here. I can probably take... Let's say 2 minutes off there. The match only needs to be... I don't know why, but I'm always very set in the way that I book my shows. Especially, local to global. 12-minute matches on TV. 8-minute promos. Or angles, I should say. Obviously, 8 minutes is way too long, but... In regards to the way the game plays, I feel like 8 minutes is kind of the perfect in-between of an angle that gains popularity, but also doesn't run to the maximum length possible. If that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Probably not, though. All right, so we need angles. I would like to have Doc Hammond come out for an angle with Deborah. Maybe Laura. Let's go Laura instead. Because obviously Deborah's in the match. Let me bring out Laura Flame. Cut a nice little 8-minute promo alongside the Women's Division Commissioner. And gaining herself a little bit of success in the process as well. That'll go before the women's match. I guess maybe it's even hinting at a possible match next week or, you know, sometime in the month between Laura and Deborah in singles competition. And then we've got 7 minutes left, so we could do another angle. You know what? We're gonna have Storm Spillane make his debut here. And he's just gonna come straight out, cut a promo onto Maddie Faith. Straight off the rip, giving himself some success. Obviously, Maddie doesn't even realize that he's in the company. So yeah, maybe he'll realize and maybe be a little bit shook by a fierce sort of competitor coming into the company, arguably challenging him in one of the most important moments of his, entire career. A triple threat #1 contenders match in the main event for the unified world title potentially. So very interesting stuff there. Anyway, let's do a little bit of pre-show work. Nothing too much. Let's go a women's tag team match with whoever we've got left. So we've got. Let's go for the Assassins, and they can take on Laura Flame and Air Raid. Yeah, Air Raid's more popular, so we'll go with Air Raid Siren. Unfortunately, I'm pretty much going to have to give Laura the victory, so in that case, Ellie DeGrazia can lose, because obviously Erin Gray's also involved in the same storyline, or the same match at the pay-per-view. I guess Doc can... Actually, you know what? Let's try and give it to Gilmore. And then we'll do maybe a 4-on-4. Just whoever's not being used. So, Davis... Graham can be in there. I mean, Logan can probably be in there as well. I mean, should we just go for a full dream team? No, we won't. I was going to put Mobstar in there as well, but yeah, they can take on the team of... I mean, who do we actually need to put in here that actually needs work? I think... Let's go Young and Wasted, because they're going to benefit 100% being in this match. And maybe the LA Stars would be a decent option. Maybe Jack Jackson. Though Jack doesn't really need any work. He's also 28 now, so he's kind of... Yeah, I don't see him really improving. I think he's pretty much capped out with everything. I absolutely love his entertainment stats. And he really does look like an absolute badass. So we're gonna hopefully utilize him, or at least capitalize off of him very, very soon. But with that said, let's go for Utah. We'll put Utah in there as well, and then I guess Jack Pride, because I think we got a little mention about Jack Pride from, was it Aldous? I think it might have been Aldous, saying that he is essentially going to be a star for us one day. So there we go. Big match. Doc Hammond. That's fine. Stone's a referee. And there we go. Let's run the first TV show. Alrighty, so we start off with a 70 rated women's match here. Women's tag match in the pre-show. We have Laura Flame and Air Raid Siren defeating the Assassins in 11:36 when Laura Flame and Ellie DeGrazia with a flame fire kick. Obviously, Laura carrying the match as well. Getting a 74 in-ring. So, you look at the other in-rings there, 54, 58, 52. I mean, they're all still relatively young compared to Laura, because Laura's, I think, 31 So she's kind of, in the prime of her career, I would say. The other one's, much younger, maybe 25, 26, around there. So she's definitely, a standout, as you can tell, and exactly the reason why we brought her in. There we go. And the second pre-show match, the big 8-man tag, getting us a 74 rating, where we have Davis, Graham Gorman, Logan Wolfsbane, and Spencer Edmund defeating Yujiro Sono, Primetime Jack Pride, and Young and Wasted in 12:30, when Spencer Edmund submitted Yujiro Sono with an elevated Boston Crab. Good match. Alrighty, we then start the TV show off with a 58. I have to say that's actually quite a bit lower than I thought it would be from High Flying. I was kind of hoping for a, mid-70s, if I'm being honest. Luckily, though, he did invent a new catchphrase that will likely boost his ability on the microphone. So, in some ways, he might have essentially gotten better. Let's just leave it at that. But a 58, not the greatest in the world, and his rise to the top, not looking very hot at the moment. In-ring action, of course, we had Papa Swole answering the call, and we get a 63 rated match subsequently as well. High Flying Hawaiian pulling off a win, defeating Papa Swole in 12:29 by pinfall with a Pacific Crush. Got a 72 in-ring there from High Flying, so it's okay. But I don't know. In my head, I just kind of expected him to be doing a little bit better. We have kind of given him victories, at least, 2 big pay-per-view victories. So, I don't know. We'll see how this storyline with Mobstar goes, because if that doesn't elevate him to sort of a main event level, or at least upper, I mean, he's already kind of upper mid-card, but doesn't seem like he's upper mid-card, if that makes sense. Seems a little bit lackluster in a weird way. Anyway, we then go into a 71 rated angle, where we have the Women's Division Commissioner, Doc Hammond, and he's backstage talking with Laura Flame, basically, welcoming her to the company. And then he says this month is going to be one of the biggest months for women's wrestling, not only in Canada, but around the world. The Coalition will crown the first ever Coalition Women's Champion. As you can see, both of them superb, working without a script there as well. Had the crowd in the palm of their hands their entire time they were cutting their promo. We then go into women's action. We get a 63 rated match here, where we have Deborah Young defeating Selena Svelte in 9:31 by pinfall with a sit-out powerbomb. And yeah, it's just a good match. Deborah and Selena have pretty good chemistry that lifted the match. And that, I've kind of been talking about it in the last few episodes. But the women's division, they seem to literally, or at least the sort of, main roster women, they seem to be in the 60 to sort of 70 range of matches. And it seems pretty consistent, to be fair. They're always getting like, sort of 50 and above in-ring performances, and obviously standouts being Laura and likely to be Amber Allen as well. I have to say, it was a pretty damn good decision to bring them in, to bring a division in as a whole as well. Alrighty, we then move into tag team action. Get a 63 rated match there. We've got Disciples of Darkness, of course, our number 1 contenders. Number 5, of course, as well. They defeat the Northern Lights in 9:43 when Zombie Boy pinned Riddick Jordan with a flying double stomp. And of course, Original Sinner, the weak link, struggling to keep up with everybody else in the match. It's actually not a bad match, considering Original Sinner's in it, basically. As you can see there. We then move into a 64 rated angle. Interesting. We have Storm Spillane, of course, come out cutting a promo onto what he determines is the hottest, youngest rising star in the world of professional wrestling. And Storm wants to show the world exactly what he's got. He wants to beat one of the top rising stars in wrestling today. And he says that person is Maddie Faith. And of course, like I said, this might be him getting into the head of Matty Faith prior to that triple threat #1 contenders match. As you can see, Storm did not do well without a script to follow, so I guess from now on I'll probably script him, because I don't think he has the best entertainment stats in the world. Anyway, he got an initial rating of very good for his badass gimmick, which I did actually change, because I think he was going to debut with a no gimmick needed. I don't really like those, because there's no real potential to, I don't know, sort of increase those up, you know, to like a legendary gimmick level, which obviously with a legendary gimmick, you of course get the bonuses in your angles, in your matches and stuff like that. So I thought better just to give him a gimmick, give him one that's sort of suited to him as well. And as you can see, paid off. And he also gets a small boost to psychology during his matches as well. And if you know Storm Spillane, he's got very good in-ring skills, very good psychology to begin with. So that's likely to even be better. Awesome. And it's actually not a bad sort of debut angle. He's only got like 60 popularity, not even at 70 yet, so not too bad. And he struggled. Alrighty, we then go into a 76 rated match here. That's a little bit unexpected, to be fair. I mean, I would maybe consider Mutant upper mid card now, maybe. But he's definitely not near the main event scene. He's getting close. Yeah, very unexpected. And we have Mutant pulling off a not exactly an upset, but just a pretty big victory, defeating Cupid Christie in 9:51 by pinfall with the Tina Turner. So yeah, got a 78 in ring from Mutant and a 71 there from Cupid Christie. And then of course we have the following angle, and that's unfortunate. We get a 71. As you can see, of course, Forces of Darkness come out to essentially beat down Cupid Christie even more following the match between him and Mutant. And then, of course, we have the debut of Turk Treneman, who runs out, saves his former tag team partner, and it's looking pretty likely they sort of shake hands with each other. And it's looking likely that a reunion of the Texas Express is back in a place it's never been before, the Coalition. Yeah, really bad there. He debuts his smug heel gimmick, getting an initial rating of awful. So like that is the epitome of the worst gimmick you can imagine. So not great, considering I really wanted to try and use him, and I was even considering giving him a victory over Cupid Christie. In that regard, I think I might give him a victory either over Sinner or over Zombie Boy on the next show. Maybe not Mutant. Alright, we then go into a random sort of tag team match I decided to throw onto the show. It does okay, as expected. We get a 64 rating, where we have the Puerto Rican boys defeating Job Squad in 12:22. Island Boy Apollo pinned Robin Newman with an Island Driver. And of course, Island Boy Apollo head and shoulders above everybody else in the match. Alright, we then go into the Logan Wolfsbane angle, getting us a 100 rating, which is honestly about what I would expect from a person or a wrestler that has 100 popularity in Ontario. As you can see, clearly enjoying having the freedom to go off script, and of course, he officially vacates the Canadian title. The announcers sort of put over the fact that he, at the pay-per-view, he had already sort of alluded to that previously or prior to winning the title against Giant Brody, last episode. But he says, or he announces that he is officially creating a tournament to determine the second #1 contender, of course. I mean, I know I didn't put it in here, but he kind of alludes to Graham Gorman. Says Graham is one contender, but we need a second to crown the next Canadian champion. And a series of, talented workers will be put under the pump over the course of a few weeks. And we will find out who that contender will be. And as you can see at the announcing desk, Lee Bambino was pretty weak. He's a bit of a coward, bit of a weakling, and definitely dragging some of our stuff down. But luckily, this one was so good that even Lee Bambino couldn't drag it below 100. So I'm pretty happy with that. And our main event didn't do great, but then again, also kind of understandable because we kept someone strong. We'll take a look at the dirt sheet, but an 80 rated main event, it's not what I want because I want 85s. But you know what? 2 out of 3 of these guys are probably not true the upper echelons of our main event. I would say they're main eventers now, you know, being Aussie and David. But Maddie, Logan, Mobstar, Davis, and Aldous are probably our top 5 main eventers at the moment. So, yeah, it's a weird one. It's a very weird one. But, yeah, we have David Stone pulling off a massive upset, defeating Maddie Faith and Aussie Darkstein in 2030 when David Stone pinned Aussie Darkstein, illegally using the ropes for leverage. During the match, we also had Angry Gilmore distract Aussie, of course allowing David to pin him using the ropes for leverage. So, not what you would really expect from David Stone. You kind of see him as maybe a clean-cut babyface, but I mean, he saw his opportunity and he saw the assist come down from Gilmore as well. He decided to pounce, and of course, Maddie Faith was preoccupied, shall we say, with the promo that was cut on him earlier in the night. So he kind of had an excuse. Anyway, quickly take a look at the dirt sheet here because I'm curious. Obviously, we got lack of associated storyline. David Stone unfortunately penalized for inconsistency, but I mean they were the only two penalties, and of course we had the keep Maddie Faith strong as well. But interesting. It's pretty low. It's lower than I would. That's definitely. I don't know. That seems low because we had an 88 from Aussie, a 94 from Maddie Faith, which is insane. And then the 79 kind of dragged down by David Stone a little bit. But he is our new #1 contender. Alright, so not the best show in the world. We get an 82. It's not gaining us any popularity in our over regions, shall we say. But you know what? I think it was a good show. We didn't really use kind of any of our big 5 apart from Maddie Faith. And he didn't even actually win the match. So, in that regard, the angles were also, they're all pretty low. But you know what? I'm trying to at least edge our way out from just purely using the same guys that we do over and over again. Alright, Robert Oxford. His contract's running out as well. Robert Oxford is a very, very good road agent, as you can see there. I mean, I'd be tempted, but he's probably pretty expensive. And I don't really think... We've already kind of got 2 really good road agents in Gilmore and... Who's our other road agent? I've completely forgotten his name. Edmonton, there we go. And Edmonton. Who's better? I suppose it's very close. I think Ed is just slightly below on the psychology. So that's interesting. But there we go. Anyway, TV rating, we got a 3.99. So just under a 4 TV rating. And of course, we are almost broke 3 million viewers. So what I've realized is all the stuff that I set up last episode. So basically, we put the TV show onto TV Max, the Red Della Lucha, on them again. Ridiculous, I know, but I put it on there for 5 months. Might have been a bit silly. We didn't really need to do it. We probably just need to we don't need to be on any network, really. That's kind of what I've come to in the back of my mind. The Coalition Network, our own broadcaster, is so much better than anything else. Like the broadcasting revenue from those other broadcasters, I mean, it would basically almost amount to nothing, which is pretty crazy, but anyway, there we go. It's also worth mentioning the developmental company is actually making us money, if you can believe that. We made $134,000 which just seems pretty crazy. But then again, I'm not sure how the wages and stuff work with those. I could be very misguided potentially. Anyway, we're up to 73 in Saskatchewan and 68 for Alberta there, so not too bad. Also, we're sort of edging towards 68 popularity, which I think for some reason was the popularity we needed for one of the broadcasters. I really don't want to go into it too much. But of course we couldn't really get onto any broadcasters if you didn't watch the last episode. I think CBA would be a decent one to get on, but we need 15 regions at 60, and honestly, I mean, if we count the regions, I don't think... How much do we need? Let me check that again. Hold on. CBA. We need to be big size anyway, so I guess we won't even worry about it until we're big size. Perfectly fine. But like I said, it really doesn't even matter. Now, one thing I do want to do, let's go to Grace Harper. And we want to send her down to OWC. She wants me to reconsider, but you know what? I just want to get rid of her. We're going to do the exact same thing to Lee Bambino as well. Let me just jump into developmental here as well. Not what I wanted to do, but child company. Was wondering if there was a way for us to set who our announce team is. Wonder if it will be in announcers, potentially. No. Okay, I mean, that's interesting. It was Mellow Flash Heart, the one that I was wondering about before. Anyway, let's advance. I want to take a quick sip of water. And of course, we want to keep the episodes nice and short, so... This one, I mean, I've kind of rambled on a fair bit throughout, especially at the start of it as well. When we changed the titles, implemented the titles as well. But basically, I'm looking for between an hour. I think an hour is the perfect length. But obviously, I'm likely to run over an hour most of the time. This one, likely to run over. Not by too much, but maybe an hour, 10 minutes is probably what we're looking at. But like I said, I think an hour, 3 episodes, and I'll try and get them out 3 episodes a week, I think would be what I would like to try and do. You know, between 1 and 2 days waiting time in between. But then again, I also want to try and stream a little bit more, and if I stream more, probably not going to have as much time to bring these episodes out. But what I'll do is I'll probably just rip the live streams from Twitch. Make sure you follow the Twitch channel, link down in the description below. But I'll rip those live streams and I'll probably just sort of directly upload them. The people that miss the Twitch live streams can just come over here and watch it. Maybe it'll be like another sort of TCW. That was actually fairly successful, the TCW live streams. But they kind of got, I don't know, it was managing TCW. It was very big. It's hard to explain, but it felt like a lot, basically. Which I could say the same for this series, but now that I'm changing the format, I'm feeling a lot more comfortable with it. Just having these much shorter episodes. Because, the last 2 episodes were like 2 hours long, over 2 hours, if you will, for the that live stream special. And man, they take ages to record, first and foremost. They also take a long time to render and get ready for you guys. Anyway, we've got Federic Antonio Garcia, contract running out as well. He is retired though. And he's a manager. I mean, I don't really see anything for him. Sid Collier, on the other hand, could be a very interesting option to bring in. He is 35 years old, though. But I'm pretty sure both him and Cam Jones I think they're both in CWA. So we would essentially be taking away one of their tag teams. You got Runaway Train as well, who is a road agent, but a pretty bad one at that. Not going to worry about him too much. And yeah, Danny Fonzarelli, but that's perfectly fine. Let me just quickly check Cam Jones. Yeah, so as you can see, he's also with CWA. So we would essentially be stealing away one half of their tag teams, but you know what? I don't exactly want to be signing half of tag teams, and the fact that I even signed Storm Spillane was kind of a bit strange. Because if I go to Marvel Malloy here as well, a little bit further down, quite a fair bit down. There we go. As you can see, exclusive written contract there with Oli, but it expires in 19 days. Luckily I checked that. Oh my god. Luckily I checked that. Wow. Wasn't expecting that. Not gonna lie. Wow. What are the chances? We would have missed out on him for like another year or potentially 3 years if I had not checked. I thought he was with a different company. I didn't think he was with Oli for some reason. I have no idea why, but anyway, let's go we'll go 7 years. I mean, 40 years old. It's fine. Tag team wrestling. We can just run, 10-minute matches if we have to. All right, so how much do you want? 17,900. That's fairly affordable. Oh, Oli's not even offering him a new contract. That's very strange. Obviously, higher merchandise as well. 10%. We'll take it. There we go. He's very low on popularity. That could be a bit of a problem. But as you can see, he along with Storm, both very, very good. I literally can't believe that. I mean, I'm almost like gobsmacked a little bit at the fact that for some reason, like, we signed Storm. Did I not even check Marvel? I don't know. I guess I didn't. All right, so Hamilton, I mean, do I even bother with the meddling anymore? Honestly, I don't think I do, to be fair. Let's just leave it. All right, main event. What are we doing for the main event? Let's have a tag team match. Let's try and put on a decent tag team match as well. We're going to need a... Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. Let's do Maddie Faith and Logan Wolfsbane taking on Storm Spillane and David Stone. I don't know. It feels right. It feels right. It actually gets Storm into the main event sort of straight away. Even though the popularity not exactly there. It's sort of upper mid-card level at the moment. So we'll go like that. I did say that I was going to do Maddie Faith versus Angry Gilmore, potentially as well. Or actually, no. I was going to do Aussie versus Gilmore, so we can still do that. Perfect. Alright, this one, I would like Maddie to win. No, let's have Logan win. It's the easiest way of doing it. Logan beating Storm. Simple. The world champion's going to beat Storm Spillane. Let's be real. He's going to be able to do it. So there we go. Make it decisive. That team loses. Perfectly fine. Next match, like I said, Darkstein. Not sure if I called him Goldstein before, but yeah, Darkstein taking on Angry Gilmore, trying to get a little bit of revenge as he did take the pinfall loss. Hopefully, did Gilmore lose? Sorry, Darkstein lose? He lost 1 popularity from that loss. I wonder if I'll probably check Stone as well, see if he gained any. Would be a pretty interesting thing to check. So let's check it. Wow. He gained a lot. I think he gained 4 points. from that win. What about Maddie? Maddie was the one I was worried about. Still 90. Okay, problem, crisis averted. Problem averted. That's really good, actually. That's real good for David to gain 4 points. I want him to try and get up to, 90 in Ontario pretty soon as well. I would like him to be that sort of the sixth member. Primarily more so him than someone like Aussie, because it would just kind of, the whole dynamic would work a little bit better. I want to keep Aussie at the moment at least just below Aldous, which is pretty easy to do as well. Aldous and how good he is. But up next, we're going to have a match between Aldous Blackfriar and, where is he? John Greed. The final match in the sort of the storyline together. And we're going to have a pretty interesting angle following this one as well. Will be nice. Let me change the referee there as well. All right, so let me book this angle real quick. So it's going to be all. Actually, we'll start off with John Greed. So John Greed. What's happening to my J's? There we go. John Greed, Aldous Blackfriar. Is going to be joined by Mutant. Going to be joined by Aussie. Actually, Aussie should probably be second. Going to be joined by Mutant. Going to be joined by Sinner. And, of course, Zombie Boy. And then we're also going to have two other members. We're going to have both Jackpot and Stevie P come out and witness something very, very scary. So this one's going to be selling entertainment. We're going to have Forces of Darkness declare Greed to be sacrificed. Sacrificed in the name of the darkness, I guess. I don't know. The name of the dark. Yeah, yeah, we'll just go with the darkness. I don't know. I can't be too creative right now. But basically, John Greed's going to be sacrificed, essentially by all members of Forces of Darkness, and then we're going to have both Jackpot and Stevie P come out. They look like they're going to save John Greed. You know what? They don't want to get involved. They don't want to get involved, and we potentially have the end of one of our sort of great stables here in the company. But there might be more. So let's just wait and see what happens. And of course, the sacrifice will have been made. Have that match going a little bit further up. Let's have another women's match. This time, I think we'll go with Laura, and we'll go with Laura, and she can take on maybe Amy St. James. Yeah, I mean, that just seems like a pretty good match, to be honest. Amy St. James, kind of one of the lower down women. So it's just going to be another nice victory there for Laura Flame this time on TV. But we're going to have the debut of somebody as well during one of those. Maybe after the match. Let's actually book it in. So let's have Amber Allen. She's going to come out and debut, and then actually, you know what? Let's just leave Amber by herself. I think that's a good idea. Just her by herself. Maybe we'll have it go before the angle. Let's give an angle to... I mean, we may as well just go Aussie and Angry Gilmore, because obviously, I mean, Aussie would be pretty pissed off, and a back and forth would probably ensue. So, I don't know, that seems fairly understandable, and it's definitely going to lead to a pretty good rating for the show, so that'll go on before their match. I guess we could maybe have Aldous cutting an angle onto John Greed prior to the match starting, maybe. Just thinking about the show rating at this point as well. I would love to try and use everybody as much as possible. But it's just hard to do. We've got a really big roster now. And without increasing the show length, the time is just not there. And that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. The next thing we need a match, and we need an angle as well. Alright, so for match, let's go. Alright, let's go singles match. Let's go another singles match, and we'll have Turk take on Zombie Boy, I think. Big one. I mean, Turk does have... Oh, he doesn't. Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought Turk had like 50 popularity. He's only got 35. It's not great. No, instead of doing a match right now, I'm just going to do an angle on this show. And maybe instead, let's have Cooper. Yeah, let's do this instead. Cooper can take on... Sinner, I think, is probably the better option to go with right there. Cooper will get a win back, gain himself a little bit of momentum again. And we'll be happy. We'll be happy with that one. There we go. Honestly, I don't really know where to put it. I guess maybe first. Yeah, why not? So let's go for a Cooper, Christie, Turk, Treneman angle. So double entertainment. I think Turk does have good entertainment skill. I really hope he does. Otherwise, I'm a little bit worried. Or I would probably be a lot worried. Let's quickly have a look. I think he does, because he was in US Pro. They're not great. But luckily, he's got a decent amount of charisma, so it probably just makes up for it. And then again, actually, Cooper doesn't have any entertainment skills, does he? Okay, he does. Do I have Lucinda manage both of them? I don't know. Maybe we take Lucinda off Cooper now that he's back with the Texas Express. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, got time for, I guess, one more angle. So that being said, let's do something I never really thought I would do, and that's a Logan Wolfsbane, Maddie Faith tag team sort of angle prior to their main event match. Main event tag team match that they're teaming up with each other to take on their, respective storyline competitors. We also need a storytelling match. We've got a lot of singles matches on the card here. And there we go. Alright, tag team on the pre-show. Let's go for the Crew taking on the Golden Goats. Oh, for some reason I thought Davis had low popularity then. He doesn't. It's all fine. That was supposed to be pre-show. There we go. Women's. Let's hire up a couple of women. Not hire up, but borrow up. We'll go for Bernice again, and let's go for maybe Yvonne. We haven't used Yvonne quite a lot recently, so let's bring her up as well. I think I want to just give a assassin victory against Bernice and Yvonne. I mean, Yvonne almost has like more popularity than a lot of, well, I don't want to say a lot of our women on the roster. Obviously she doesn't, but she has similar to like Amy St. James and Selena as well. Is very interesting. Alright, so let's give Erin Gray the victory. She kind of needs it, because she will be in that Fatal 4-Way match, so... yeah, we get the penalty there for the storyline, not the storyline, the stamina. Alright, next one, let's go for High Flying Hawaiian, and he can team up with the Puerto Rican boys to take on the LA Stars and... where is he? Shooting Star Perez. Just a nice little pre-show match. And again, we'll just give High Flying some more. Just some more momentum. Hopefully it'll, do him good. Anyway, there we go. The second show, the final show of this episode. Let's run it. We start off with a 53 rated match. Actually, not too bad, considering Bernice Bonar is in this one. So, a 53 is very good. We have the Assassins defeating Bernice and Yvonne Eriks in 9:43 when Erin Gray submitted Bernice Bonar with a guillotine choke. Obviously, Bernice the weak link. But interestingly enough, both Bernice and Yvonne have good chemistry, or great chemistry with each other as well. So we've essentially got two ready-made tag teams here. Obviously, Bernice needs a hell of a lot of work in the ring, but not too bad. Then go into a 75 rated pre-show match here. Big six-man tag. We have High Flying Hawaiian and the Puerto Rican boys defeating Shooting Star Perez and the LA Stars in 12:26 when High Flying Hawaiian pinned Shooting Star Perez with a Pacific Crush. Good match. And then finally, last pre-show, we get an 81 rated tag team match here, where we have the Golden Goats defeating the Crew in 11:38 when Davis Wayne Newton in Public Enemy with a Fisherman's Suplex. Good stuff there as well. Yeah, really good pre-show match, to be fair. Alrighty, we then open the show with a 49 rated angle where we have the coming together once again, former tag team partners rejoining or realigning themselves with each other. Cooper Christie, Turk Treneman, we have the Texas Express back together. And of course, Cooper has a match up next. But yeah, Cooper was very poor, improvising dialogue, and then Turk Treneman worked the crowd well. So, gonna need to at least script these guys, I think, only because, Cooper is a bit of a letdown, the old promos, but it should be fine. We then go into Cooper's match, getting a 60 rating here. Pretty good out of Sinner. And we do have Cooper Christie getting some revenge from last week, defeating original Sinner in 10:23 by pinfall with a top rope elbow drop. Of course, Sinner was one of those members of Forces of Darkness that was attacking him post-match last week. Alrighty, we then have the debut of the beautiful Amber Allen, getting us a 72 rating there. Most popular woman on our roster, and as you can see, she debuted her fabulous heel gimmick, getting an initial rating of adequate. So, adequate's fine, because adequate's just that. It's not bad, it's not average, it's just kind of there. It's I guess in a way it is kind of just average, but yeah, no pros or cons either. So we'll take it. As long as it's not a poor gimmick, I'm definitely happy. There we go. We then go into a 70 rated tag team match, which is impressive to say the least, where we have Laura Flame defeating Amy St. James in 12:14 by pinfall with a Flame Fire kick. 72 in ring from Laura. I mean, she's putting herself forward very, very well to become that first ever women's champion. I am thoroughly impressed. I always have been. It was always one of my favorites back on 2016. So, it's going to be hard not to give her the belt. But then again, we also have Amber. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. Either one of those two, and then maybe throw Deb in as well. And of course, by now you guys all know how much I like Erin Gray as one of the newer workers. Good workers all round, man. And there's a lot of talent, especially in the four there. And then, of course, Selena, Air Raid Siren as well. All right, we then go into a 95 rated angle where we have the sort of confrontation between Aussie Darkstein and Angry Gilmore. Darkstein confronts him, asks him, why he got involved in the #1 contenders match last week, and Angry Gilmore kind of just says, you know, I was looking out for David Stone. He is the leader of Next Gen, and he is, you know, a hot rising star in Canadian wrestling. The name stands for itself, you know, being Stone. And Darkstein's not too happy, and of course they're going to be in a match. The match itself, probably not one of their best matches they've ever had, to be honest. They've had better. We get a 74 rating here. Aussie Darkstein defeating Angry Gilmore in 9:36 by pinfall with a golden shower. Of course, these two historied rivalry, especially back in the earlier, you know, smaller regional days of the Coalition. Back when we had a world title prior to it becoming a unified world title as well. Alrighty, we then go into a 100 rated angle. This one from Resident Darkness himself, Aldous Blackfriar, and of course he cuts a promo onto John Greed and basically says tonight is the final time anyone will ever see John Greed. Their match actually does pretty well. Could have maybe been the main event. I'm hoping that our main event for tonight will be better than this, but we get an 86 rated match here in 12 minutes where we have Aldous Blackfriar defeating John Greed, potentially, like you said, for the last time ever, 11:38 by pinfall with a Batwing. Got a 96 in-ring there from Aldous Blackfriar as well. Very impressive stuff. And of course, we followed that up with another 86 rated angle this time. And of course, we have Forces of Darkness declare Greed to be sacrificed in the name of the Darkness. And basically, they take him out. They lift him up on, I guess, their sort of weird occult sort of symbol that they sometimes bring to the ring. And yeah, he's lifted up on top of it, and they start to walk away. Of course, during the angle, we also had Jackpot and Stevie P come out, see what was going down, and they did not want to get involved. They did not have the back of their leader, John Greed. And the announcers put over the fact that they don't really know what's happening to Wall Street Enterprises now. I mean, they're essentially without a leader. It's John Greed, likely never to be seen again. Anyway, there we go. Aldous Blackfriar improvising well. Aussie as well, enjoying having the freedom. And then Mutant actually struggled, which is a bit of a change, because usually he does pretty well. We then go into a 100 rated angle, which is interesting to say the least, between Logan Wolfsbane and Maddie Faith. Unlikely alliance for this tag team match main event. But as you can see, Logan did not do well without a script to follow. We still got a 100 rating. And then also at the announcing desk, as we'd expect, Lee Bambino was very weak, or was pretty weak. But let's be real, he's very weak. Yeah, 100. Just wouldn't expect it. It's a bit of a strange one, to be honest. I don't know how. Obviously, the 100 popularity, Maddie Faith as well, just being as talented as he is, you can kind of, I guess, see how it still gets a 100, despite that sort of negative scripting penalty there as well. All right, the main event, please be good. All right, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. We get an 88 rated main event here for our final TV show here in week 2. We have Logan Wolfsbane, our current unified world champion, and Maddie Faith defeating David Stone and Storm Spillane for Storm's debut match here in the Coalition in 20 minutes, 22 seconds, when Logan submitted Storm Spillane with a Boston Crab. Then, of course, Logan head and shoulders above everybody else, getting a 100 in-ring performance. Storm was the weak link, only getting a 72, but he's getting better at his gimmick as well. So that's a real good positive there. We had a 90 in-ring there from Maddie Faith, and a pretty solid, actually, 85 from David. So he got 79 on the first TV show in that triple threat. Now he's up to 85. Hopefully he gained a little bit more popularity from this, even though he lost the match, but overall show rating as well, getting us a 91. So that's a pretty good way to end the episode, I think. I'm pretty happy with that. As you can see, increasing our popularity in 55 regions. Unfortunately, not getting the increase there for Ontario, but we are 88 popularity in Ontario. So we're going to need to keep getting those really, really big pay-per-view, ratings. There we go. That's pretty much going to wrap up the episode, guys. I don't really want to go through too much because likely, like I said, we're essentially going to do the end of month review where we sort of go through everything that's happened throughout the month in regards to popularity, people, increasing in stats and stuff like that. Anyway, we got a 4.2, a 420 meme number right there. TV rating, 3.153 million viewers. So we definitely broke the viewership of last week, which is very, it's a positive thing to see. CWA, we actually beat them. We beat CWA. However, it was because their main event was an 80 rated match like ours was last week. So, in that regard, that's not too bad. I feel like we've kind of dodged a bullet there. If they, put the women's match or the Mob versus the Cult and Impact, would have probably been a different story. But there we go. Pretty happy that they went for Matthew Keith defeating Lightning Lomas for the TV title. Anyway, that is going to wrap up the episode, guys. Please make sure you smash a like on the video. Let me know if you are happy with the new format that we're going to run with. I'm very happy with it, so hopefully you guys are as well. And make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I think we're at about 47% of people that are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure you do it. Hit the notification bell, turn on all notifications, and you'll be notified when all these episodes come out in the future. And of course, we're getting into a real interesting area of this series. We're getting close to big size, man. We're almost there. Almost there. And it's crazy to see that as well. So yeah, apart from that, guys, as always, take it easy and goodbye.